Welcome to the Arc of Grays Harbor's Navigating Through the Systems virtual workshop. All right, thank you everybody for being here. My name is Christy Childs. I'm with the Arc of Grays Harbor and Grays Harbor Parent to Parent. Welcome to Navigating the Systems workshop presented by the Arc of Grays Harbor. We're so excited to have you all here today to learn about the many different systems that individuals with disabilities and their families have to navigate. We're honored to have Dee Dee Garman, Developmental Disabilities Program Specialist at Grays Harbor County Public Health and Social Services, and parent as our guest presenter. Dee Dee brings a unique perspective on the subject matter as she not only has professional experience in the field, but also personal experience as a parent navigating the system. The Arc of Grays Harbor is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to supporting individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. We offer a variety of services, including parent-to-parent, community information and education, help applying for Social Security and Developmental Disability Administration, pre-employment transition services for high school students, community engagement, and much more, all of which are designed to support and empower individuals with disabilities and their families. We believe that knowledge is power, and our hope is that by the end of this workshop, you'll feel more equipped to navigate the various systems that you may encounter on your journey. So thank you again for joining us. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dee Dee Garman. Thank you for being here to present to us today.
Thank you, Christy. My heart goes with the ARC, as I was with the ARC for many, many years as the board member and then as the executive director. And there's lots of history behind the ARC, as it was the ARCs that helped get residential housing into our community, kids into the school districts, and people working and community events involved in. So ARC is a great place to be and a great resource for everybody. So I hope you all tap into that. So I will first start out by telling you that my name's Dee Dee Garman, as Christy said. My daughter Lacey is 38. She is a client of Developmental Disabilities Administration, and she has received services since she was birth to 3. The information that I'm interested in learning is from you guys of what you want from the county and the ARC and what we can do to help meet your needs. When we learned that Lacey had cerebral palsy, she was 1 year old, and we were fortunate that the doctor's office was able to connect us with the local health department, which has the children with special health care needs, who then put us in contact with the Birth to 3 program, who then put us in with Developmental Disabilities Administration, DDA, and then who DDA connected us up with somebody from the ARC. We had case managers that encouraged us to connect up with community resources, and they helped us to start making a future for Lacey. And it takes a village to raise any child, but when you have a child with special needs, you need even a bigger village. So I was very fortunate to have all those people come alongside me and help me, because I, like most parents, was devastated and did not have a clue and felt like I was alone. And it was really hard for me to reach out. So it was nice that people were reaching out to me instead of me having to reach to them. And that's where, again, I recommend going to the ARC, because they can help guide you and connect you to all those different places that can become part of your village. The one thing that I would like to share is that there is a site called Informing Families, and the website is on the screen below. So you can click on it, and it goes to different categories. It has birth to 3. It has 3 to 6 year olds. It has 6 to 14 year olds, 14 to 21 year olds, and then 21 to 40 years old, and then 40 plus. So the one thing I want to say is you don't have to go to each one of these to be able to get all the information, because they kind of build upon each other. So if your little one is birth to 3, you can go on that, and it's going to cover what you need to do to birth to 3. But if you go on to like this one that's 14 to 21 years old, it's going to tell you all the stuff from the birth to 3 program on, because they're building upon what steps you should do from Social Security. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one so you can kind of see, because we got the 10-year-old, we got the 21-year-old. So it's kind of all of those things. And this one kind of covers most of the stuff other than when the aging, and that's a little bit different, but this has the bulk of the stuff in it.
Welcome to Informing Families Navigating Your Way series. You're here because you have a person with a developmental disability in your life. It may be a newly born infant, maybe a student in school, it may be an adult, or you yourself may be a self-advocate who has a disability. No matter what the situation, you will find that information is key to the decisions that you will make across the lifespan. Some of that information relates to formal services and the various systems that support people. Some of the information are connections in your local community. No matter what, all of it's navigating your Welcome to Informing Families Navigating Your Way series. You're here because you have a person with a developmental disability in your life. It may be a newly born infant, maybe a student in school, it may be an adult, or you yourself may be a self-advocate who has a disability. No matter what the situation, you will find that information is key to the decisions that you will make across the lifespan. Some of that information relates to formal services and the various systems that support people. Some of the information are connections in your local community. No matter what, all of it's designed to help you live a meaningful life at whatever age you are. Navigating Welcome to Informing Families Navigating Your Way series. You're here because you have a person with a developmental disability in your life. It may be a newly born infant, maybe a student in school, it may be an adult, or you yourself may be a self-advocate who has a disability. No matter what the situation, you will find that information is key to the decisions that you will make across the lifespan. Some of that information relates to formal services and the various systems that support people. Some of the information are connections in your local community. No matter what, all of it's designed to help you live a meaningful life at whatever age you are. Navigating Your Way, ages 14 to 21. During these years that your family member is immersed in school, make the most of the support they have to focus on emerging independent living skills, employment opportunities, and connections to your community. Typically, after age 21, school activities and school-based services end. It is important to learn as much as you can about the road ahead so that you prepare your family member for a meaningful life after school. Although transition planning officially begins at age 16, you can start planning for life after school as early as 14. In fact, many families recommend this as early as possible. Even with state and federal laws to ensure your family member's right to an education, it's important to speak up and ensure their needs are being met. To help you get the lay of the land, Informing Families offers a free high school transition toolkit that includes a timeline and checklist for identifying specific goals to include in the student's individual education program, or IEP. If it's not written in the IEP, the school does not have to provide the services to support it. Be sure to include employment-related goals in the student's IEP, such as identifying career interests and abilities, learning self-advocacy and social skills, riding the bus, improving communication, and using assistive technology. In addition, your family member may want to consider pre-employment services, which provide job exploration and work readiness for students with IEPs and 504 plans ages 16 to 21, or as young as 14 if included in the IEP. Pre-employment services are offered by the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. Talk to your IEP team or contact DVR to learn more. dshs.wa.gov/DVR. Now that your family member is reaching adulthood, it's increasingly important that their voice be heard. As their transition plan is being developed, be sure they are an integral part of the process. Help them become an active participant in IEP meetings. Work with them ahead of time to identify their interests, abilities, and goals for the school year and beyond. Include them in filling out My Life Plan, a free online planning tool that asks questions related to every area of life. It's important that your family member participate in voicing their goals and preferences. Visit mylifeplan.guide to get started. Help your young adult identify opportunities to build social connections that will follow them into adulthood. Look for school and community-based clubs where they share a common interest with other students, such as scouting, local recreation programs, and Special Olympics Unified School programs. Unified programs bring students with and without disabilities together to participate in sports and other school events that promote an inclusive school environment. For more ideas, the Family Community Connections Guidebook, a free publication of the ARC of Washington State, offers valuable tips and worksheets for identifying people, places, and ideas to help broaden your family members' circle of support and community connections. Visit informingfamilies.org to download a free copy in English or Spanish. Look for ways that your family member can build their self-advocacy skills. Create opportunities for them to pursue their goals. Make room for mistakes. Include them in decision-making. Consider joining a self-advocacy group. People First of Washington promotes self-advocacy in all areas of a person's life in many parts of the state. They are creating self-advocacy chapters in high school. For more information, visit peoplefirstofwashington.org. At age 18, your family member becomes a legal adult with the right to make their own decisions in all areas of their life, just like everyone else. In the past, many parents sought legal guardianship as a way to ensure their child's health and safety. However, that comes at a price for the individual who may lose many of their rights. Supported decision-making is an approach that offers less restrictive alternatives, such as powers of attorney for medical and financial decisions, representative payee to manage Social Security benefits, and a trusted relationship with family or others who can provide good advice. Learn more about supported decision-making as well as different types of guardianship at informingfamilies.org. When a student with an IEP turns 18, they have the option to graduate or walk the stage with their peers and continue on to a transition program until age 21. Staying in school until age 21 helps build independent living skills and provides a guided transition into adult life and services, such as long-term employment supports, which do not begin until age 21. Transition programs vary by location. For example, some county DD programs partner with the school district, DVR, and others with the goal of helping students leave school with a job and make a seamless transition to adult life. Not all counties have the funding to provide this type of wraparound service, so it's important to ask your school what kinds of activities and supports its transition program offers. Some schools may even have more than one program to consider. Transitioning to life as an adult includes changes in healthcare providers and coverage. The Child Neurology Foundation has information and tools for transitioning to adult healthcare. Visit gottransition.org to learn more. Supports from other parents and professionals is available to you during these educational years. Organizations such as Parent to Parent and Partnerships for Action, Voices for Empowerment, PAVE, can help you learn how to advocate for your family member. Visit arcwa.org/get-support to find a parent-to-parent office near you. For assistance from PAVE, visit wapave.org. The Office of the Education Ombuds, OEO, resolves complaints and disputes and problems between families and public schools. The OEO is independent of the public school system and offers an alternative to costly lawsuits and administrative hearings. For more information, call 1-866-297-2597 or visit oeo.wa.gov. Contact the Social Security Administration to apply for disability benefits when your family member turns 18. Call toll-free 1-800-772-1213 or visit online at www.ssa.gov. Anyone eligible for SSI is also eligible to receive services paid through Medicaid, such as Apple Health. It also entitles eligible individuals to in-home personal care through Community First Choice. Personal care services provide assistance with activities of daily living, such as bathing, dressing, eating, meal preparation, and housework. To apply for Apple Health, visit wahealthplanfinder.org. To apply for Community First Choice, contact the Developmental Disabilities Administration, also known as DDA. DDA is the state agency that provides case management and supportive services for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Washington State. Most DDA services are not an entitlement, however, which means that enrollment is dependent upon available funding and openings created as people move or change services. If your family member is already a client of DDA, you should be contacted prior to their 20th birthday to review his or her eligibility. Typical services available through DDA include long-term supported employment services, respite, therapies, assistive technologies, and learning independent living skills. Most of these services are offered through a home and community-based waiver program. A waiver is an agreement to receive services in your own community rather than in a state institution. To learn more, visit dshs.wa.gov/DDA. You can also sign up for DDA news updates by clicking the box to the right of their homepage. Paid services are just a part of the picture. Support can come from relationship with family, friends, and others in the community, as well as assistive technology, local resources, and a person's own strengths and abilities. The STAR form can help you identify sources of support to reach any goal. To learn more, visit informingfamilies.org/star. If you haven't already done so, start planning for your family members' financial future. A special needs trust, such as the Dee Dee Endowment Trust Fund, shelters and protects assets that would otherwise disqualify your child from government benefits such as SSI and Medicaid. Visit ddetf.wa.gov to learn more. ABLE savings accounts are also available in this state to allow individuals with disabilities to save money without losing financial eligibility for government benefits such as SSI. Visit WashingtonStateABLE.com to learn more. There's a lot to navigate and plan during these years, but take heart. The road already is well paved by others who have come before you. Connect with other families and resources in your community and encourage your family member to work toward realizing personal goals. Trust and know their dreams can come true. Find links to all of these resources and more at informingfamilies.org, a program of the Washington State Developmental Disabilities Council.
The one thing I really want to hone in on is what they were saying is about connecting with others. Even though we have a lot of systems, I think I got most of my information from other parents, and I got those at either trainings I went to or parent to parent that I went to. So when you're connecting up with other parents, you start talking, and that's when you find things out. It's not because the systems don't want to tell us about it, but they've got so much information. Sometimes they just assume people know or they forget. So again, I'm always saying start with the ARC, because the ARC has been instrumental from the beginning of time of getting, like I said, kids into the education, residential homes, all of that stuff. They've got lots of programs. They can connect you up with people. They can help you with filling out applications for Developmental Disabilities Administration, Social Security. They know how to help fill those forms out and who to connect you up with, so it's not so frustrating. The other one is the Grays Harbor County Children and Youth with Special Health Care Needs. They are able to help you even if you are not a client of Developmental Disabilities. They can help you connect up with people as well. So tap into them. They know all the resources to connect you up with. Again, the health care needs is what connected me up to Developmental Disabilities. So here again, the ARC has support groups. They have community resource and programs. They also help let you know the legislative issues that are impacting us. I'd like to say I was very naive when I first found out about my daughter's disability and just assumed that our state did the right thing because that was the right thing to do. Later on found out that it was because of families who had individuals with disabilities that advocated for a long, long time for our kids to get into the schools. I mean, that didn't happen in a year or two. When people decided not to put their kids in institutions, they were at home with them. They had no help with education. The kids stayed home with them. They were not allowed in the school program. They didn't get any state help with respite care. They didn't get any help at all. It was just all on the parents, and the parents started to advocate for those. And that's when the ARCs were all developed. And we actually, in the state of Washington, are the ones that first put in the Individuals with Disability Education Act. It was in Washington State before it was a federal law. They just stole our name and made it a federal law after that. But that just shows you that people in Washington know how to get things done. And so, you know, the only way we're going to keep moving forward is to be able to speak to the legislators and tell them what our families and our individuals need. We are very fortunate now, because before it was just parents that were going to legislators, but now we have the individuals with disabilities also going up there. And so the legislators really respect hearing from the individual that has a disability and what it's like for them to live with the disability and what they're needing, as well as then hear from the parents and what they're needing to be able to help their children be as independent as possible. So it's real important, and the ARC has a really good process to be able to help you do that without having to go up to the Capitol all the time. If that's what you want, you can do that, but they do have where there's alerts that come out and you can just send a simple email and they give you a canned message to send to them. So they've made it really easy. They also have a community liaison that will go to the schools and help you be able to know what you should have on your plan and be able to help the school know what's out there, you know what's out there. So that's a really good resource. And I already talked about how they can help you fill out applications for different things. And then the children and youth with special health care needs, they can give family support, they care coordination and health information. And it's for the age of 17 and younger, I guess. And it can be, they don't need to have a disability, developmental disability. They can just be at risk of having a condition that's preventing them from developing or growing as typical developing children are doing. These are the state resources, is the Informing Families, there, and then the ARC of Washington State, and Partnerships for Action, Voices and Empowerment, which is PAVE. And then the Disability Rights of Washington. That's if you're ever having any problems and you're not sure your rights are being taken care of, you can get a hold of them. Informing Families has a really nice brochure out that's a folder that has resources on the inside and the back of it, and also their website. And you can contact the ARC and get this folder in either English or Spanish. Stop by and visit the ARC, or they could probably email it to you. And this is the Informing Families Building Trust website. You just go up here if you're looking for something in particular, and you can type it in. They do have it in different languages, and then you just go down here for the different topics that you want. So now we're going to go talk about, I'm trying to go in like what we usually do. Like with my daughter, we went into birth to 3, but usually even if you find out your kiddo has a disability, you're usually finding it out through the school's help. And the school can be really, really confusing because there's lots of acronyms at the school as well as everywhere else. And so I would really encourage you to get a list of the acronyms, but for me that really didn't help because they're throwing out acronyms and I'm in the middle of trying to understand what they're saying. So personally, I always just say, what does that acronym mean? And that means they have to stop and tell me what it means. So I would really encourage you to do that. A communication book between you and the school is really, really important because they can write down different things. You can keep that to take later on. It's also a way to be able to track something if you're starting to, if something happens and you can see, oh, well, that always seems to happen when they're around PE or around lunchtime. So it helps to be able to have the school know what's going on at home, you know what's going on at school. Again, inviting the ARC to your meetings to be able to help both the school and you know what resources are out there, such as DDA, DVR, all of those different ones, which is DDA is the Developmental Disabilities Administration. DVR is Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And those are ones that you will want to tap into. The DVR is later on when they're around 14 to 16 years old. So I always try to get people to really try to connect up with the school and other students in the school, because our children in the school it's not just about them getting inclusion, it's about having the students without disabilities getting comfortable with kids with disabilities. So as much as possible, having your kid included in as many classrooms as they can. If that's not feasible, then at least recesses and lunch times and all of those should be. And outside of school, if you can get them involved in different things, like they were saying, like the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, 7th Street Theater, different things, just whatever they're interested in. If they like to be in the water, swimming lessons, just different things that they can be involved in the community, because the more our individuals are out in the community, the more people become comfortable with them. And they have just as much to teach people without disabilities as people without disabilities have to give to them. So I just really encourage that. And I encourage you to really tap into the specialization that the schools can give you, because right now you're getting that support from the occupational therapist, sometimes speech therapist, and the teacher and the paraeducator. So you can really tap into their support and see what they can help you move your kiddo along, because eventually you're not going to have them anymore. So tap into that, find out what they know, what they can help you with. The other, for me, it was really hard because I always was so appreciative of what the school did, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be anticipating with the school. And one of the things that PAVE provides is they provide a workshop about your IEPs, your individualized education plan. And one of the things that they can do is they come and teach you about that, but they also can look at your individual education plan, the IEP, and make sure that it's on target for where you should be with your kiddo, mostly when they start getting into transition. So I'm just going to let you see a little bit of snippet about what PAVE does with the IEPs.
This video is brought to you by the Parent Training and Information Program at PAVE. As the Parent Center, we serve individuals and families across Washington State to help you better understand the special education services system. Most students and families have more questions than answers about what is the IEP and how to use it well. Individual Education Program, or the IEP, is an important program for students who need additional services to access learning. This short video is to help you better understand IEP. Every student has a right to a free and appropriate public education. That's FAPE, under the Federal Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Students with disabilities or learning differences may need additional teaching, accommodations, or services to build a learning path that is right for them. The process begins with evaluation. If you have concerns about your students' learning, or they have a known disability impacting them from birth, request an evaluation from Child Find at your school district. The request must be made in writing and begins a timeline to determine if they will evaluate and what the individual strengths and support needs are. Not everyone will be evaluated. You have a right to disagree with the school's decision to evaluate or not evaluate. If an evaluation is recommended, a parent must sign and agree to the evaluation areas before the process begins. Not every student will qualify for an IEP, but may qualify for a Section 504 plan that outlines needed accommodations under the Civil Rights Law. Once an evaluation has been completed, you'll meet the evaluating team to look over the results, and you'll begin to outline the major areas of support and talk about the strengths and concerns. Be sure to write down any questions you have and even bring someone with you to help you take notes. Evaluations are done at least every 3 years. The evaluation results meeting is usually a good time to set dates together for your IEP team meeting. Parent and student participation is very important. Be sure the time of the meeting works for you and you have enough time to discuss strengths and areas of concern. The IEP team is made up of you as the students and parents, teachers from your general education grade level class, and special services teachers or therapists. The district representative should be a decision maker, like the principal or district staff who can approve services, equipment, schedules, and make staffing decisions. The IEP is an active program, not a stack of papers. The document that describes a student's special education program is carefully written and must be updated at least once a year by another team meeting. But this team can be called together at any time to review and adjust the program. Good communication is the key to student success. Learning in school isn't just academic subjects. Schools also help students learn social and emotional skills and general life skills. Every student has access to a high school and beyond plan by age 12 or 13. By age 16, an IEP includes a transition plan for life beyond high school. This helps a student to make successful transition into adulthood. Here is a chart that outlines the basic sections of an IEP document with basic definitions. IEP can include these areas, so if you don't understand where something is, ask your IEP team to explain. It's a good idea to request a copy of the draft IEP before the meeting, so you can read and prepare any questions ahead of time. Annual goals in your IEP, including academic, social emotional learning, and functional goals, should be SMART. That's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The IEP should provide a specific way to check on progress. Assessments like state testing scores or academic progress tracking software can be used to set a baseline and measure progress. Special education is a service, not a place. Least restrictive environment, LRE, expresses the IDEA's strong preference that students with disabilities be educated with children who are not disabled to the maximum extent appropriate. A chart on the IEP document breaks down the time spent in special versus general education settings. Every student is a general education student. An IEP can add services and supports to a student's day to help meet their educational and post-school goals. You should be given a procedural safeguards handout at every IEP meeting. This contains your rights and how to handle disagreements. It is very important to read it and know your rights. If you have questions or concerns, contact us at the Parent Center. We are here to help. This is a very basic overview of the individual education program. You can find informative articles and videos on our website at wapave.org. That's WAPAVE.org. Or click the Get Help tab to request one-to-one assistance from a parent resource coordinator.
One of the things that a special ed director said to me when our daughter was about 12 was that the last day of her school years, so when she was leaving the school, should look like the first day of her life after high school. So what he was saying is that in every IEP, you should be transitioning more and more to be more towards the community and less towards the school building. So that is what we sought to do for our daughter, is we would continue to get more and more activities outside the school, and so that when she left the school, she would be used to that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Again, they talked about when you're 18, you can get this before you're 18, but most people go at the age of 18 because it only considers their income, your child with the disabilities income. When they become 18, they're considered an adult. And so they can get SSI. Some people cannot get SSI because of their parents' income. You should always try to do that when you first find out that your kiddo has a disability, just to see whether you can get those benefits, because they do have a lot of the community first choice. You can get that. You can get insurance and stuff like that. So, but if not, at the age of 18, you definitely need to be signing them up for Social Security, and it will go off of their own income. And they also can get SSI when a parent retires. So I forgot that part. When a parent retires, or they are on disability themselves. The one thing I do want to say is, when your loved one goes on Social Security, even though they're living with you, it's really hard for parents, but you need to charge them rent, room and board, because if you don't, they'll get less Social Security. So you might as well have them getting all their Social Security, and then they can pay you rent. I had a lawyer friend that told me, you can do whatever you want to do with that rent. Nobody says that you can't put it in a special needs trust or do something, the ABLE account or whatever you want to with that. But they do need to be paying you some amount of rent. I know that before, people had asked me about what that should be. It just depends on different areas. I think the going thing now, it used to be like $350, but I think now it's more like $500 is for room and board. They also could get, when they get Social Security, they also will be able to get food stamps. There's a program called Wash Cap that people can get connected up. Once they have the disability and the Social Security, it comes together. Sometimes you'll go to Social Security and they'll say, no, you can't get it until you're 21 or 25 or something. But if you mention Wash Cap, then they'll know. I actually had one time a person that was working for the place that you get your food stamps, and they said, no, that's not true. And she went back and took the brochure. I actually had one time a person that was working for, so the next thing I want to, regardless of the age of the child, you should be putting in for Developmental Disabilities Administration, DDA services, whether they're 8 months old or 8 years old. Whenever you find out, you should be putting it in. And again, you can go to the ARC. They will help you with filling out that application and getting that started. I want to tell you, like right now, there is an opening for people to be able to get these services. We went a long, long time, almost 10 years, where there was no money available for people to get onto the system. And now the legislators have given money. So there's an opening for people to be able to not be on those wait lists. And so I strongly encourage you to go to the ARC and have them help you fill out the application for Developmental Disabilities Administration. They can help you with so many things, even if it's simply, I know that for me, when my daughter was younger, I'd say, well, I really don't need that. I don't need that. The one thing that they could give you is, it's called respite care. And that's where they have somebody come in, and they can either come into your home so that you can go out and do something, or they can actually take your loved one and go do something out in the community with your loved one and give you a break. And I know that makes you feel really bad as a parent. Sometimes you think, oh, how bad is that I need a break from my kid? Well, everybody needs a break from their kids, even if they don't have special needs. But the thing is that, again, you're building that village. You're building that ability for other people to come into your child's life and embed things to that child. But more importantly is helping that child not be totally dependent on you. They're also learning to rely on other people to help them meet their needs. So I really strongly encourage you to. You can see on this little brochure, it says start early. You can start, like my daughter was in the birth of 3. You don't want to be on the wait list. So the other thing I want to tell you is that If you apply now and you're eligible, even if you're not tapping into a lot of services, even if you happened to be on the wait list and there ended up being a wait list, if something happened drastically in your family home and that loved one needed services right now, they would be able to get them because they've already been found eligible. You're just waiting for funding to be there. And when there's a crisis, the Developmental Disabilities Administration is able to find money in a crisis. So again, it talks to you about how as you grow, you can help get support for you and the kiddos and help build for the future. This will tell you about applying for DDA services.
Washington State Department of Social and Health Services, Developmental Disabilities Administration, DDA, how to apply and why. The Washington State Department of Social and Health Services, Developmental Disabilities Administration, or DDA for short, offers programs and services that support children and adults with developmental disabilities in just about every area of life. There are other agencies that provide services and benefits such as healthcare and financial assistance. However, this video will focus on how to apply for DDA services and why it's important. Here's Jeremy Norton-Paul to explain more.
Applying for services from DDA is a multi-step process. The first two steps are 1, applying for DDA eligibility, and 2, requesting services. DDA uses certain criteria to determine if a person is DDA eligible. Applying for DDA eligibility does not determine if a person is eligible to receive a specific service. That comes later. To request a DDA eligibility packet, visit DDA's website to fill out an online information and service request form, or call your nearest DDA office and ask for the DDA eligibility packet. After the completed packet is submitted, DDA reviews it and will contact you to talk about your application. When a decision is made, your eligibility worker sends a planned action notice, or PAN, to let you know if you have been approved or denied eligibility DDA. If there's a denial, the letter explains how to appeal the decision. If approved, the next step is to request services by following instructions in the PAN, using the Service and Information Request web form, or calling your local DDA office. It helps if you can describe the kinds of support needed at home and in the community. Visit informingfamilies.org/DDA-services for information about the specific services. What happens next depends on the type of service you request. Let's explain.
There are two main types of programs: Community First Choice, or CFC, and Home and Community-Based Services waivers. Community First Choice, or CFC, is a program for people with low income who need help with activities of daily living like bathing and dressing. One of the main services CFC is personal care to help you with tasks to meet your physical care needs. There are other services too, like assistive technology to help you more independent and support to learn new skills. Because it is an entitlement, anyone who is eligible for the service can receive it with no waiting lists. If you request CFC, the next step will be a financial eligibility determination to see if you qualify for Medicaid, followed by a functional assessment to determine the type and level of support the state will pay for. Home and community-based services waivers, or waivers for short, have more service options than CFC, and children's family income is not counted towards being eligible. However, unlike CFC, waivers are not an entitlement. This means that even if you are eligible, you are not guaranteed a waiver if the state does not have enough money to approve you.
Many clients of DDA receive both CFC and waiver services. If you're denied a waiver due to lack of funding, ask about the CFC. Just keep in mind that the family income of minors is counted as part of income eligibility for CFC, unlike waivers. Even though enrollment for waivers is limited, it's important to ask for what you need so that DDA and lawmakers know the true need and can plan for future budgets. And when openings occur, you're already in the system and can reapply. If you decide to hold off on requesting a service, or if you request a waiver and are denied, you will be placed on DDA's No Paid Services Caseload, or NPS. For more information on DDA services, visit informingfamilies.org/DDA-services.
With the DDA, I want to strongly encourage people to fill out the application with the ARC and then to send the documents that are needed to back up your application. It will say that you can sign off for them to ask for doctor records, school records, and other records. But if you have access to get those records yourself and copy them off and send them with your application, you're going to speed up the process. Because if you send the application and they have to send a release of information to the doctor's office, then that is going to sit on the doctor's office desk until they can get somebody to do it. Then they'll have to do it, mail it back to DDA. Same thing with the school. Whereas if you have the whole documents there that they need with the diagnosis, the schools, any records that they're going to need, and they have it inside that packet, they can go through your eligibility faster. Also recommend that when you send the packet to DDA that you take a copy, a complete copy, so whatever you sent them, you have for your records too. So if something happens and say they call and they say, well, we don't have, you didn't send us the doctor's note with the diagnosis, you can say, oh, well, no, it was in the packet, but I have a copy of it. I'll send it to you right now. Then that way, you know what you sent them and you can get it to them as soon as you can. They are definitely there to help you. The case managers, especially in Grace Harbor, are awesome. They're willing to help you too. Everybody wants people with disabilities to have the services they have. So just go and get the help, filling out the application and get it out there. The next thing I want you to think about is to be planning for your kiddos' future for the time that you're not going to be there. As much, I remember that same wonderful director said to me, well, so what's going to happen when you die? What's going to happen with Lacey? And I remember being really mad at him because I didn't plan on dying. So, but then all of a sudden I realized, okay, I am. He shared that he had seen so many people that their family members were their main care providers. And when their family member passed away, they not only had the grieving process that all of us have when we lose someone we love, but they also have the grieving process of losing that care provider. So it's real important that we all look at that day that we may not be here for those kiddos, and we never know when that's going to be. None of us know when our last days are going to be. So one thing that was real important to me is that when Lacey turned 18 and she got on Social Security and she started to get the community first choice hours for somebody to care for her, we brought somebody into the house after school because she was still in school, and they would come in after school and on the weekends and they would take her out in the community. And we were building that person up to be taking the place of the school, because the school is where she spent a lot of her time, and taking it away from us because of the fact that eventually she would be out of the school system. So she'd be used to that person. And she would be getting used to being out in the community without us. So this is a little bit about the plan and how this works. It's digital, it's electronic on your phone. So, and it can be shared with your case manager.
Welcome to My Life Plan, a secure online tool for planning and envisioning life at every age. Getting started is easy. If this is your first visit, you'll need to create a new account. Click to begin My Life Plan. Next, select either an age range or the link at the top. Both entry points will take you to a simple registration for new users. Step 1, enter your email and create a password. Step 2, enter your name and relationship to the individual the plan is for. Click to register your account. Select an age range, enter some personal information, and click to get started. My Life Plan asks questions related to 7 life domains: home living, community living, lifelong learning, education, employment and retirement, health and safety, social activities, protection, and advocacy. If you are filling out a plan on behalf of a family member or someone you support, be sure to include them in answering the questions to the best of their age and their ability. At the bottom of each page, click the boxes that show the individual's current services and supports. Use the space to the left to write down any thoughts about services or information needed to reach the goals in that life area. You can complete the plan in one session or exit and return at a later time. My Life Plan will save each page when you click the next button. Follow your progress at the top bar. When you're finished, you can print and email the plan to anyone you choose. Just click on Return to My Plans. Then hit the send arrow to the far right of your plan and enter their email address. They will receive an email inviting them to view the plan. If this is their first time using My Life Plan, they will need to create an account. With My Life Plan account, you can continue to revise your plan and create new ones for each age category as you grow. Give it a try. Let My Life Plan help you think about and plan each stage of life.
So I really encourage you to use that. Another thing that they have on Informing Families Building Trust is they have things like Get Organized for Life that helps you organize your documents so that you have them ready when you start applying for different things. It's assistive technology. It gives you some ideas. And this STAR format, and it helps you to write down the goal that you have and different places that you can get help from, like what the person's personal strengths are, technology that they could use, services that they have, so that you're trying to build that village that I was talking about, and that they have a core support of all sorts of different people, like maybe churches and different things like that. So it's a really cool form that they have. And then I think we talked about the legislation and about advocacy. I'm going to let you see this little tip about legislating and how the ARC can again help you with that. The ARC of Washington State and the ARC of Grays Harbor. I already talked to you about how we have made a difference because of people speaking up. So.
Hi, I'm Diana Stadden with the ARC of Washington State.
And I'm Jessica Rubber from Farm Advocates Leadership, and I'll be the street device for this video.
We're here to talk to you about how to become a trusted resource for legislators on issues that affect your life.
Even though your elected officials represent you, they can't do this very well if they don't know what you want.
That's right. With so many topics for legislators to learn about, your knowledge of developmental disabilities helps them to do their job. You are the expert in telling your story and how it relates to decisions they are making. Here are some tips to help you make the most impact. Your time with legislators, staff, or aides is short, and your message should be too. When you communicate, sum up what the issue is and why it's important to you. Have a specific request related to a bill or budget item. Attack the problem, not the person. And follow up with a thank you. If you're not sure what to talk about, visit arcwa.org/advocacy for issue summaries, as well as a list of bills and budget proposals. If a legislator asks for information you don't have, like data or charts, It's not only okay to say you don't know, it's the very best response to give. You can always follow up by contacting the ARC of Washington State or ask another advocacy organization for the answers. By doing this, you greatly increase your credibility and strengthen your legislative relationships. Bottom line, stick to what you know, which is your life and how the issue affects you.
There are lots of ways to let lawmakers know what you think. You can send a message by email. Call the toll-free legislative hotline at 866-562-6000. Phone your legislator directly. Schedule a virtual meeting with your legislator. Chat with your legislator's legislative assistant. Testify at a hearing. Attend a legislative forum or town hall meeting.
Because of the pandemic, almost all legislative advocacy will be done remotely for the foreseeable future. To set up a meeting with a legislator, email their office to schedule an online appointment through Zoom. Meeting times are limited to about 15 minutes. You don't need a Zoom account, but you will need to download the Zoom app or use a browser. Your legislator's aide will provide you the link. For Zoom tips, visit arcwa.org. Remember, be polite and respectful to legislative assistants who act as gatekeepers to your legislators' busy schedules. You may find that they have a family member or close friend who's affected by the same issues you face. A good relationship with them can make a big difference. For remote testimony, visit the committee schedules page at app.leg.wa.gov/committee schedules. Select remote testimony for where the bill is being heard, House or Senate, and follow the instructions. Because remote testimony is so new, these steps may change. If you need help to testify on a bill, call or email the Legislative Information Center at 360-786-7573 or support@leg.wa.gov. If you don't want to testify, you can still make comments on the bill for the committee to consider. To do this, visit the bill's page and select Comment on this bill and follow the directions.
Don't forget about social media. A lot of legislators have accounts on Facebook and Twitter, where you can comment or watch live stream chats and virtual town halls.
It's so important to stay informed and involved. Participate in virtual advocacy days. Sign up for the ARC's action alerts. Get updates at arcwa.org and follow us on Facebook. Connect with local parent and self-advocate groups.
For more information, check out our Hot Tips publication on our advocacy page at arcwa.org, available in English or Spanish.
And remember, change is made by those who show up.
Okay, so one of my favorite sayings is never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has, by Margaret Mead. And I really believe that. That's because I've learned that through what I've learned through advocacy of what I've seen people do in the past and where we're at today. Not having the waiting list is one of those things. So in closing, I just really would like to share with people that it is so important that we prepare our loved ones for life without us. And I have firsthand experience in learning that. I was taught that. And so, like I said, I had made sure that Lacey had people in her life once she exited school. We always took her community first choice hours, and we always are her backup people, and we put other people in her life. So at one time she had different people. They didn't work full time, but she had 3 different people that worked for with her. 2 of them were school girls that were going to college to be special ed teachers. So they worked with her on the weekend, and then we had somebody that worked during the week with her. And I'm a very strong person. People will tell you that I can handle a lot. But about 11 years ago, all of a sudden, one day I just started crying, couldn't stop crying. And I was in a deep depression and I needed to go get help. And it was very nice to know that Lacey's life went on without skipping a beat, without me being there, because she had all those people who knew how to take care of her, and they just increased the time they spent with her. And when I came home from going to get help, you could tell that she knew I was gone and that something was different, because she used to be mad if I went somewhere and would give me the cold shoulder, but she was very happy I was home. But that was a good test run for me to know that I wasn't going to leave her and nobody would know how to take care of her. She has a notebook that tells how to take care of her and everything, but it was a good test run for me. And I really believe that as parents, just like our kiddos without disabilities, we have to help them get ready for life without us, because chances are we are going to pass away before they are going to pass away. And we all know that everybody hates change, but change is even harder for people without disabilities. So I really appreciated that special ed director jolted me into the fact that I was not going to live forever and started preparing for that. And I just hope that some of the getting connected up with some of the systems and building your village for you and your loved one will help you to be able to do that as well. And I thank you for your time, and Lacey and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for all that you shared, Dee Dee, and just for bringing your expertise. That concludes our Navigating the Systems workshop, and we hope that you found the information presented today helpful and informative. And again, we just are so grateful for you, Dee Dee, for coming to share with us tonight all of your expertise and your insights. We understand that navigating the systems can be really difficult and challenging, and we hope that the information that we shared today will assist you in your journey. And if you have any further questions, like Dee Dee said, please reach out to her or reach out to us at the ARC. We would be happy to help support you. So thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.